Here we go then, people. Welcome into Aston Villa from the stands. This is a meeting, a crunch talk, a real talk here because you have to be real. You have to be real right now. Aston Villa are in a bad predicament. Today was unacceptable. Today was not good enough. And today was not a fluke. Today was not a one-off. And that's what I need people to remember. This performance has been coming. This performance is worrying, and this performance is concerning. Today was the day that Aston Villa should have really cemented themselves in getting a top four position, in coming closer to achieving what we should be setting out to do every season now under these new owners, with Unai Emery, with the squad that we're building, which is achieving top four. And yet today we fell short again. And it appears that under this sort of current squad with Unai Emery, when the games matter the most, Villa fall short. And that is a hard one to take, and that one is a hard one to swallow. But quite simply, we are falling short when it matters. There are so many things that are concerning me right now with Aston Villa on and off the pitch. And people can sit there and go, oh, you're overreacting. Look at where we are. Look where we were 3 or 4 years ago. I don't want to hear where we were 3 or 4 years ago anymore. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear about today, what we're building with our manager, Unai Emery, and what we're trying to achieve. And so anyone who keeps going back to the days of in the Championship or we were nearly relegated, saved by that VAR, ghost goal, whatever you want to call it, let's not do that anymore. Let's worry about what we're doing because we are spending money. We are trying to generate a lot of money. We are making fans put their hands in their pockets and spend money to be able to be a team that competitively and consistently competes with the top four every season. Today was another game like Bournemouth, like Brighton, where quite simply Aston Villa did not get over the line in the way they should have. And we've had games this season where we've been lucky to get over the line. We've been lucky to get over the line, where we've had to scrape to the bottom of the barrel to get 3 points. And I've sat there and gone, do you know what? It's a points business. Who cares? Who cares how we win as long as we win? And that's where it's caught up on us now. That's where it's caught up on us today and quite possibly could catch up on us in the future if we haven't done so already. Because it is about the performance. It is about the substance. And I think a really good example of that is Tottenham right now. You look at the predicament of Tottenham. Tottenham had a philosophy, a very rogue style of play. And we saw with Van Postecoglou that Chelsea game at Tottenham at home, continuing to play in that mad manner. And people were like, that is going to catch up on Spurs one day. That will catch up on Tottenham one day. Well, guess what? Aston Villa are now getting that sort of same spotlight. The amount of neutral fans that are now calling Villa boring. The amount of neutral fans said we are terrible to watch. Are we not feeling that ourselves now, Villa fans? And I think there is problems both ends of the pitch. I think we have completely lost our ability to create like we were last season. And I think we've completely lost our ability to defend as well. I think we're stuck in no man's land. I don't feel reassured with our defence. Too many mistakes happening, too many soft goals conceding, people switching off at the back post, people not finding their man, really not closing down opposition players. And then in attack, where is that ebbing? Where is that flow? Where is that real, absolute grit that Aston Villa show? Quality. I'm still trying to find it. We were miles off it today, and that was the worst second half performance I've seen. And Aston Villa, again, consistently keep putting out one good half, one poor half. Today, it wasn't even one good half. It was one good 15 minutes. The rest was an absolute shambles. And I will come and address the chat in a second. So big up to everyone who is in here live. Make sure you smash on the like button because I want to hear your say on this as well. Make sure you're smashing that like button up for me because this is real talk right now. This is not good enough for a team who wants to challenge in for the top four. And I've asked the question, has top four gone? I can only show you this league table again, which I'll get on the screen now. And you are telling me that, again, if you look at the absolute reason of this result, Aston Villa on 37 points, 3 behind Bournemouth and Chelsea, 4 behind Newcastle and City, and 7 behind Forest. And people go, but we're good. We're in touching distance. A few good results and we can be right up there. Do not get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. A few good results could change the fortune. But let's be really real with ourselves. Where are those good results coming from in terms of performance-wise? And I really want someone to find and tell me the last time they felt good about an Aston Villa performance. And I feel like the performances that people are going to stretch and go to are Manchester City at home. And let's remember, Man City were in a really, really bad patch. Or Bayern Munich in the Champions League. I think as a Villa fan base, we will not be able to find any good, consistent performances for 90 minutes apart from those two. Yet, and this is me trying to flip a positive, yet we're sat in 8th, not too far off it. But the most damning sign of where a team is not doing well, a damning sign of where a team is in trouble is goal difference. If you're not taking note that Aston Villa sat in 8th place or a -1 goal difference with the teams above us on 15 or more goals ahead of us, then there is your statement. There is your problem. We are conceding way too many goals, and not scoring anywhere near enough. As I said, it is that conundrum. We've lost our spark in attack, and we don't know how to keep a clean sheet. And I want to know what's going on. Because unless we find a performance out of our skin, unless we start finding rhythm and consistency, then we need to. And this has not been about fickle because, and this is where we have to be 100% serious now. I am grateful that we're in 8th place. I am grateful for Unai Emery, for the owners, for the squad that we have. But what I cannot get my head around, and we cannot hide around this, is that performances like today have been coming and we've been let off. And I've said those games, Bournemouth at home, Brighton at home recently. We got over the line against West Ham in the FA Cup. West Ham again today. It is too inconsistent to ever touch a glove on being a top 4 side. To be a top 4 side, to be a team that is going to break into that top 4, you have to be consistent with performances. And some people say, hey, a sign of a good team is when you're not playing well, you still win. Don't get me wrong. But you then have to come out of that bad patch and find a good patch. Villa have not done that this season. We have absolutely shot ourselves in the foot with our transfer window business. If that we are going to go in with only 2 centre-backs. Now, of course, that's a wider, bigger issue. But it comes back to, again, summer transfer window just gone. Abysmal. Anyone who thinks that was a good window needs to give your head a wobble. The summer transfer window last season left us in a really, really bad predicament of where we are right now. Second of all, this January one is now turning into a bit of a head scratcher because we're going into, with 6 days or so left, 2 centre-backs. Mings has now got injured. What are we doing? And Loic Bade has rejected us. We're not interested in Oscar Mingueza. So now all of a sudden we're interested in Juan Foyth. And the reason Unai Emery said that he does not want to have or play Bogard at centre-back today, as some of you are saying in the chat, is because he said Bogard can't play on the left side of a defence. And due to the way Aston Villa build up, he needed to play Luca Dean there. Well, I'm going to ask you this, Unai. Where the hell is that build-up play today? Where the hell has Aston Villa's build-up play been from the back at all this season? That's an issue. Does Foyth play left side of a centre-back? Or is he more on the right side? From what I remember and what I believe, I'm sure he plays right side. It's interesting. I will come to the comments, I promise. I appreciate all your comments. But I need to say this. It's not being fickle now. It's being real. Do the eye test. Do the eye test. Aston Villa, and as AVSC 85 has said, we're not playing well. We can't keep the ball. There is no build-up. And when you hear and when you see that Kamara is being lauded as our best player, which a lot of people have been doing, a lot of fans, a lot of content creators, a lot of people on social media, from Kamara as our best player, that is an issue. People won't want to hear that as well, but that is an issue. When you are lauding a defensive midfielder as your best player, the most important player that we need more of him, that is an issue. Because basically what you're saying is that he protects the defence and he's really important for his duels and interceptions. And then, all of a sudden, why are we not talking about the attackers? Why are we not lauding the attackers? And so, yes, Kamara has been brilliant. Yes, Kamara has been fantastic. But are we really going to be that team now who really we're putting our best player as a marauding, port of winning midfielder? Come on. There is big problems with our build-up. And I'm telling you, we have lost that build-up play that we once had. I'm sorry, but we have. We are a counter-attacking side that on transition looks good for a small period of time. But when Aston Villa run out of steam and the legs go, then we have no hope. When Ramsey and Rodgers have stopped, when Ramsey and Rodgers have lost wind, when Ramsey and Rodgers have blown their gasket, we're done. We're done. When Deere and McGinn for Ramsey and Rodgers, the more I think about that sub now, crazy decision today. The reason why it was a crazy decision is we've lost both ball carriers. We've lost both ball carriers. We have lost both ball carriers. We do not have someone who's able to carry the ball. What, Donny Mallon? Is that what we're relying on now? Donny Mallon's our ball carrier. Come on. You can't take off our ball carriers. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. And we will have a look at Aston Villa's fixtures coming up again and just really go through it. But where does the problem lie? We have to start asking ourselves, is it down to the players? Is it their mentality? Are they really that weak? Are they really that fragile? Can they handle the pressure? Can they handle the pressure of breaking Villa into the top four? Is that where we're at? Too much, and I'm going to come to some of the comments now. So, look, Rodgers is either really good and beats players left, right, and centre, or runs down blind alleys. There's no in between. But this is the problem. We're putting too much on this guy's shoulders. We're asking this guy to single-handedly carry Aston Villa Football Club. We're single-handedly saying that if he doesn't play central, we're cooked. That's what we're saying. Without beating around the bush, that is what we're saying. That is what we're saying. And there lies an issue. Because we know when this guy's on it, he's on it, and he single-handedly carries us. That's a problem. We are maybe a Morgan Rogers FC. But when you're asking the same guy to be creative out of nowhere, when you're asking the same guy to make something happen, there's a lot of pressure on him. Unai Emery, of course, was on touchline today. Does that make a difference? I'm not so sure. How much influence does he have? I know that Scarry's put Hope Mings is okay, but every time it goes down, it's end of career vibes. Look, the news on Mings looks better than it was. But Aston Villa 100% now need a left-sided centre-back, ASAP Rocky. It seems we've been targeting the wrong side the whole time. We've got rid of Carlos. We were going to replace him with a right-sided, but now all of a sudden with no Pau and everything starts to get crooked, we've had to play Luca Dean there. Imagine that desperation that we've had to go for Luca Dean at centre-half today because of no other options. Where are the young lads? Where are the academy products? So that hurts. That hurts. But yeah, Tielemans, again, Yuri Tielemans in a double pivot with Kamara, of course, our two best players. But again, I'll come back to that. Being in the double pivot is a good role for helping us defensively be more assured and trying to set us up with attacks. But basically, there's a line behind the double pivot that needs to be better. And don't get me started on our fullbacks today. And then we've got the front line. We've got the front line who are not creating near enough. People want to forget, Ollie Watkins once again gets another, contribution, a goal contribution with the assist. What? I just don't understand how we've lost all our, tenacity. But yeah, people are saying about Bogard at centre back. Unai has already spoken on that, and it worries me. He said Bogard he didn't feel was good enough to play on the left side of defence for Villa's build-up play. I'm saying this now. There was no build-up play today. And I know AVFC 85 is with me on this, that we give the ball away so cheaply and so easily. So this is the next question I've started thinking about. Where are the leaders? Where are the leaders in this Aston Villa squad? Who do you see as the genuine leaders on the pitch? Because without Mings, I actually think we lack a leader. And as much as we love John McGinn, how much of a leader is McGinn on the pitch? Yuri Tillemans was once a captain. I think he's our other leader. Where are the leaders? Because I look around now and I'm thinking, geez, games like today just called out for a little bit of a calm head, a little bit of leadership, a little bit of experience. Where are those leaders? Where are those leaders? The Durant situation is messy, as people talking about in the chat. I was really listening to what Unai Emery said. Unai Emery basically said, I want Durant to stay. I want Durant to stay. Now, when I read between the lines, there's part of me thinks you might want him to stay, but does Durant want to stay? That's what I'm looking at. I might be misinterpreting that. But when I saw Unai Emery go, I want Durant to stay, I think Durant wants to go. That's how I see it. That situation's messy. We don't want to be messed around with that. And he goes on the last day of the window. That will feel ridiculous. But bottom line is Villa, again, they conned us a little bit today. Because, as I said, these performances have been the same old Villa performances. I'm going to get the fixture list up in a minute. I think we got conned today because in the first 10 minutes, I looked at us and thought, hey, here we go. This could be interesting. I even predicted that we'd get the early goal in the watch-along, and we did. Jacob Ramsey, brilliant finish. I thought, here we go. If we get on the front foot here, if we get going, could we build some momentum here? And there was such a key period in the game before the game started getting messy, before there was all these fouls. Well, we had a couple of chances. Tillemans drags the one on the left. We had a few half chances, a few blocks, and I thought, Villa, go get the second. Go get the second. And just kill them. Just kill them. But we didn't. And I just felt that when we got to half time, we hadn't taken the second. I was a little bit nervous. So I thought, yeah, we could be in trouble here. Fitness seems a problem. I feel like we look really, really jaded when we're always going into the last 20 minutes. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but even when we make substitutes, even when we make changes, I still feel that we've lost momentum and we do look a little bit jaded. And I'm like, okay, this is worrying. What's going on here? And again, I know my head's jumping around the place here, but I'm starting to think of some of our signings. Have we been absolutely conned with Onana and Maatsen? My God, Ian Maatsen. You get chances, you get games, and every time you do, you're failing to disappoint. Arsenal away, you get your start, you switch off at the back post, Martinelli scores against us. Same as how Cash messed up today. Again, today, we've had to reshuffle the pack. Luca Dean goes at the left centre-back. You come on at left-back. Again, had an absolute stinker. And I think Unai rolled the dice a little bit too early. I think he rolled a little bit of the dice a bit too early on Duran and Malin as well. Don't know why. But I'm telling you, Ian Maatsen is starting to make my head scratch a little bit defensively. Why he didn't go down, close across, how he's switching off at the back post. Same with Matty Cash, it's all good and well wanting to be fullbacks who bomb on, but your first job is to defend. Onana, we're not getting the 50 million price for. Paid 50 million for this guy. He spent more time injured, can't keep fit. When he does play, he throws in a very average performance. Yet, what he's good at doing is giving a few fist pumps to the whole end. That's facts. We've now given Emi Buendia another year, which I find interesting. Does that mean then Emi Buendia is going to be a bit more used? Again, as I said, I've been critical of Emi Buendia. He has sort of turned my head a little bit. He has shown a little bit more fight, tenacity. But let's go back to the quality of Emi Buendia. What are we doing? Is that top four? Is this guy going to propel us into the top four? These are the genuine questions that we have to ask ourselves. So, still don't think we're getting the best starting 11 on the pitch. I still think that we're not sure how to get the best out of our front four. And I think we're torn between whether we want to be this controlling possession team or are we trying to be this counter-attack FC? That's genuine vibes from me right now. I don't think we know how we want to play. I think Unai and the Villa boys are a little bit lost in our game plan. Because I'm going to ask you now in the chat, what's our game plan? What are we trying to do out here? Where are we trying to go? What is our identity? Because I'm telling you, I'm confused. I'm confused. I'm confused at whether we're a possession-based team who want to dominate the ball, keep the ball, play in the opposition's half, pin them back, or are we trying to be counter-attacking? Today felt like we were trying to be counter-attacking against the dusty West Ham side who had no recognised stroke on the pitch and no Jared Bowen. Come on, man. Come on. Big up to Ken M. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. Appreciate it as always. Thank you for your support. He said, when Morgan Rogers learns how to give that pass, Ken's getting frustrated. And similar to what AVFC said about Morgan, holds on to it way too long sometimes, ends up going down a blind alley, a dead corridor, and sometimes gets turned over in the worst positions in the middle of the pitch. Yeah, I also think that Morgan Rogers is our game changer, that he's the man that if he's ticking will absolutely ebb and flow for Aston Villa. So there we go. Stephen Perry says Cash and Matson aren't good enough. Simple as that. I was fuming with them today. I was absolutely fuming with them today. I really think that Matson and Cash really let us down. Today. Donny Mallon, is he the pretty hench or he's overweight? Hard to tell. It'll be interesting to see what we get out of Donny Mallon. Interesting to see. I do think there's a player there who is hungry, who has an eye for goal. And as Rafael van der Vaart said, has all the attributes to be one of the best players in the world. But yeah, Slicker said, what has changed from last season? I think there's only one thing. I'll be really real. It's expectation and pressure now from the fan base, from themselves, from Unai. The only thing that has changed from last season, is the expectation and pressure of finishing in the key position, which is, of course, top 4. You signed for Aston Villa, you know where we're trying to go. You know what the aim is, top 4. Simple as that. That was the aim. That's the expectation. Last season, it was, we're trying to get in the top 4, and if we get in the top 4, that'll be really good. Let's not put too much pressure on ourselves. But yeah, internally, as an Aston Villa football players, we are going to try and get in the top 4, and we achieve that. This year, there is no doubt we have improved our squad on paper. I say improved lightly, because I'm still starting to ask questions on where have we improved. Is Onana and Matson really improved us? Have they improved us? Or are we living in dreamland? With a Ross Barkley who's injured now, with an Onana who's injured, with a Matson who doesn't really start for us, and when he does, he lets us down. Have we really improved in our best 11? That's what we've got to ask ourselves. So I think what has happened is we've all put, as a whole club, fans, players, management, board, you name it, have all basically said, Aston Villa need to finish in the top 4 or get Champions League football. That is paramount. And that is paramount for the plans of the club. That is paramount for the direction in which we go. Big up to everyone in here, by the way. I appreciate all the comments. I'm loving all I'm seeing. Make sure you smash the like button. But consistency, do you know what? I'm going to be really real here with Slip. He's put consistency as our problem. I disagree. I think we've been very consistent the last couple of months. Consistently shit. I think we have been awful. I think we haven't had a consistent 90-minute game. So I think we've had consistent games. But obviously, I know what Slick said. We can't have a consistent 90 minutes. So Aston Villa Football Club, you have been consistently underwhelming. You have been consistently poor in quality. You have been consistently not showing us 90 minutes of football. And that's what I can say. It did not surprise me, again, that we fell short. So let's get the fixtures up. Let's be real. Let's actually go back. Let's go back at some of the Villa games, because I think this is where we have to get real of ourselves now. This is where we have to get super real here. Super real. Super real. Super real. Right. I'm not going to look forward at the moment. I'm going to go a little bit backwards. Okay. Aston Villa, West Ham. Abysmal. We all know that. Today was one of our worst games. I don't want to hear anything different. What if I go like that? Yeah, that looks better. Let's do it like this. Okay, and where is that really good performance? Well, that is hopefully what I'm going to dig out for us now. Where is that good performance? Let's try and find it. Monaco, consistently bad, like today. Okay, Arsenal. Now, this is an interesting one. I want to know if you... Arsenal game. We got... How do I describe Arsenal? Didn't do enough to try and beat a team that was there for the taking. We were a little bit soft underbelly. We conceded some poor goals. And really, that Arsenal team was there for the taking. Really, that Arsenal team was there for the taking, wasn't it? It was there for the taking. And no doubt about it, in my mind, that Arsenal team was there for the taking. And we didn't. So I wouldn't say that we were great against Arsenal. I wouldn't say we were great, but maybe a little bit of a 5, 6 out of 10. Everton away was a horrible, horrible watch. We had to really, really grind deep. It wasn't a good performance. It was a defensive display. But once again, Everton, yes, it's a really, really positive result. I really think that was a positive result. I really, really think that was a positive result. Winning at Goodison with a new manager bounce, David Moyes. But my God, we didn't play well. That's a fact. Villa West Ham in the FA Cup, we played well for 15 minutes. We played well for 15 minutes. Yeah. Everton, Leicester City from memory again. We had to rely on Leon Bailey to bail us out. And we looked shaky and flaky. So that's a month nearly now. DCL, Mr. Sitter, that is true. AVSC 85. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. It did happen. Okay. Yeah. Stephen Perrin, happy about Kwan Foy. That's like our 8th choice centre back that we're after. Villa Brighton, I was at the game live. Again, a story of one half good, one half crap. How we drew to that Brighton side, I'll never know. Well, I did. We just sat back, invited pressure, didn't know how to defend. We were pussies. We let it go, and we let Brighton sting us. That's how that one happened. I was there at that game. Watched us absolutely capitulate. All the goals were my end as well, so I had a nice little viewing of it on the side of the pitch next to the away fans. All the goals were there. It was a shambles. Newcastle, one of our worst. I thought that Newcastle game was going to be one of our worst performances of the season. We absolutely got embarrassed. It should have been 5 or 6. We got lucky there. Terrible. Here we go. 21st of December. I'll give us that one. I'll actually be real. For 90-minute performance of consistency, we beat a really dogged, poor Man City team 2-1. And I actually, genuinely, hand on heart, would say, I will be honest with that reflection. We played well. We played well. Forest away. Another awful, awful performance. Going back 14th of December now. Going back 14th of December. Another awful performance against Forest. Yes, we could cry about the Morgan Rogers penalty that we didn't get. But would that have made a difference with us? Probably not, because we're Aston Villa. We sit back and we let teams come on to us when we take a lead, which we did against Forest. RB Leipzig. We had to rely on Duran, which has been sort of the story there. And again, vaguely remember it, but that Leipzig team weren't anything special, but we had to get a Duran worldy strike to save us. We scraped past Southampton. That wasn't pretty. And just remember, beating teams like Southampton 1-0, Everton 1-0, performance-wise again, it was inconsistent. Memory's being jaded here now. Memory's being jaded here. But if I do go back again to some of these results around here, Brentford, beating Brentford 3-1. Brentford just had an absolute calamity, didn't they? Brentford game was good. But Brentford were shambles. But Villa actually ebbed and flowed in their attack, from what I remember. Villa actually ebbed and flowed in their attack. Chelsea was a humiliation at the bridge, embarrassing. Hated that game. Should have done so much better. The Juve game, that Juve team was terrible. We didn't really turn up. And again, drawing 2 of Palace, another team to add to the list. Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth, West Ham. I don't need to go back further. This isn't a shock. This isn't a shock that Aston Villa did what they did today. It isn't a shock that what Aston Villa did today. Because I've just shown you. I've just shown you right there. See, if you're a Newcastle fan, and Newcastle fans did this with their fixtures, Newcastle could be showing you a run of 2 or 3 or 4 games where they've been great, performance-wise. Not just result-wise, but performance-wise. Yes, Newcastle got absolutely obliterated by Bournemouth the other week, and they hold their hands up to that. But prior to that, they were on a good run. With us, I can't find games of more than 2 in a row where we've played well. And as Stephen said, it could be worse. We could be as bad as Spurs now. Listen, thing is, and this is why I'm worried. Big up to you, VJ. This is why I'm worried, because the signs of Spurs have been there for ages. The signs of Spurs and their collapse has been there for ages because of the way Ange has played. I think Spurs fans can tell you and sit there and go, do you know what? From watching Ange ball, they're not surprised where they are. Now, with Unai ball, we are always loved Unai Emery from last season and what he did with us. And this season, into pre-season, we thought, oh, is he going to change something up? But he's tried to do the same. He's tried to build up the same, but bringing in more key components, and the team just hasn't gelled. We've lost our build-up play. We've lost our philosophy. We've lost our direction, and I genuinely do mean that. The only thing that I know that Unai has seen it impacted with Unai this season, the only time I've really seen Unai get his claws and hands on this team is when he's actually tried to make us more defensively solid against the bigger sides, where we've drilled ourselves against an Arsenal or Man City and said, hey, we're going to sit in this shape today. We're going to be hard to beat. That's where I've seen Unai. That's where I've seen Unai impact us. What I haven't seen any different is Unai Emery impacting us in possession. And this will be the case with Gary saying. There is going to come a time where this hierarchy, our owners, are going to expect some silverware because of the money that we're making, because of the money that we're throwing at the squad, because of the plans and the revenue that we want to achieve. And you saw that we were up 23% on revenue. They're going to want a trophy. Now, I've got to go to this again about Unai Emery. I want to see him do something now with our attacking approach. I've seen him, as I've said this season, work on us in a defensive way. I've seen him try and fix us defensively to make us harder to beat, to make us a bit more solid. Unai, where are you now for our attack? Because our attack is absolutely playing guess who. We're playing guess who. If it ain't Morgan Rogers, then who? That's how I see it as. It's a game of guess who. And if we guess Morgan Rogers and Rogers feels the heat and pressure, then there. So I'm worried about the fact that I want to see a little bit more done with our attack now, because I'll go back to that game. I'll go back to the league table. We're on -1 goal difference. We're not scoring enough and we're conceding way too many. We're on -1 goal difference in 8. That is a sign of a team who is lucky to be where they are. And if you want another case study for that, Manchester United last season. Manchester United last season were in negative goal difference in the top 6 until they found a way. Being in negative goal difference is a horrible situation when you're there. And you see teams above us, as I said, Bournemouth's. You see Chelsea +15 goals, and we're on -1. It is a big issue because it is a real sign. Man United went through that. Look where Man United have been this season. Tottenham again. Signs are there. Warning signs have been there for Tottenham. Look where they're languishing. What I'm not saying is, I don't want to put anyone to panic. I'm not saying that we are going to be a Tottenham or Man United and fall off here and not be in touch at all. Not this season. And I'm hoping not next season. But there are signs where things need to change or tweak. And that's all I'm going to say. Warning signs are there. And this will not surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if we had a fall off. Because things aren't changing. And I'll go back to it again. And all I have to do is put that up on stage and go, this is why. Because we cannot find any games this season where we have been consistent or good for 2 games in a row. As a fan base, we're struggling to pick up 2 consistent performances this season out of all the games that we've played. Let me go to some of the comments because I know there's lots of comments coming in. Newcastle, Dancy said, this is classic Emery. Great manager always has a drop-off and struggles to consistently compete at the top. The drop-off is happening in terms of performances. That's the only thing I can say. The drop-off isn't in the league position. The drop-off is in performances. We've got to find a spark at Unai. Unai, find the spark. Light that fire again. Light the fire again, Unai, in our performances, please. And yeah, maybe it is a bit like that. Thing is, Unai is a bit like Postecoglou, won't change. Look, I would say Unai's not as stubborn as Ange. I would say Unai has changed us defensively at times, and Unai has tweaked us defensively. But as I said, my biggest concern is -1 goal difference with all the attacking talent that we have. These ballers in Ramsey and Rodgers and Bailey, with Duran and Watkins, now Daniel Marlin. Why don't we look like scoring 2 or 3 goals in a game, chat? Why don't we look like we're going to score 2 or more in a game? Why does it look like if we're going to score 2 or more, one of them is going to have to come from a set piece? That's how my heart's sort of feeling about Villa right now. The best chance of scoring from set pieces, and even then, Christ almighty, some of our set pieces this season have been horrendous. Horrendous. Mike says, missing a rugged leader in the midfield. Think Onana's a mistake because it doesn't seem to have that. Look at Newcastle, the 3 they have in midfield. Newcastle's midfield 3 is brilliant. They're buddy boys, but they've got quality. As I've been saying, and people will find this uncomfortable, Onana could be one of the biggest wastes of money we've spent as a football club. We thought 30 million was big on Buendia and Bailey and Danny Ings. Hey, 50 million on Onana for what? A few fist pumps to the whole end? A few fist pumps when we win? Where's my guy? Injured all the time. Or hiding. Or missing. I'm sorry, but I'm scathing with Onana. When you come with a 50 million price tag, I expect 50 million pound performances. I can't name you, apart from him bailing out with 1 or 2 goals. Damn. And there we go. We never seem to find a real gem player. Watch other clubs sign players who turn it on. We never seem to have that. Morgan Rogers was that one. And look, Villa says we need to restart, go to the Conference League. I'm going to put it down here right now because I've spoken to a friend about it today. Anyone here who has the mentality now of let's go back to the Conference League because we could win a trophy and blah, blah. Look at West Ham. What's that done for them? Yeah, it's given them a trophy. What's that done for them in terms of sustainability? 2, why on earth would you want anything different than Champions League once you've had it? It's like driving a Ferrari or a Porsche or a really, really expensive car for a year, and then the year after, it gets taken away from you, and you have to drive a Ford Ka. No offense to anyone who's got that, a smart car. It's not the same experience. Yes, it might get you to A to B, but it's not the same experience. It's not the same rewarding class experience that you want. Anyone who is saying it's better for us not to be in the Champions League, then what's the point in supporting a football club? What's the point in supporting a team who has ambition like Aston Villa, like the owners do? You may as well go. You may as well go find a team that would be grateful, like a Bournemouth, who'll be loving qualifying for Europa League or Conference League. Hey, we're Villa. We're European champions, 1982. Don't forget that. Something Arsenal fans can never say they have, a European Cup. Remember who we are. So Champions League is the standard now. Hence why my title said, say goodbye to top 4. Yeah, we still might get Europe this season. That wasn't my focus at the start of the season. My focus was top 4. Say goodbye to top 4. Should be the only standard that we're looking at. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Big C says, we got into fantastic positions today. I think Rodgers let us down today midweek. We need a serious goal scoring midfielder. Again, it comes back to my point. All the pressure seems to be on this guy's shoulders. There's not enough heat on Ramsey and Bailey. Yeah, Bailey gets criticised. Yeah, Ramsey. But for some reason, if we have a bad game, it's on Rodgers. If Rodgers has a bad game, it's all on him. No one pinpoint each other. And yes, Rodgers did have a bad game today. But again, why did Unai take both off Ramsey and Rodgers at the same time? Yeah, true. Harvey Barnes would walk into our squad 100%. Callum, big up Callum, Newcastle fan here. It's very much like watching us from last season. Seems very fatigued. Balancing league and Champions League is very tough ask. You're spot on. But again, Callum, and I think you would say as a Newcastle fan yourself, that's why you've got to get squad depth. And that's what I thought Villa were trying to build. But I didn't realise that Onana was going to be as crooked as he is. Ross Barkley, reoccurring injuries. Jacob Ramsey, again, another one of our star boys. How can a young player keep getting injured as much as he does? Squad depth is key. Squad depth is massive. Comes down to the manager and how to balance it. The manager doesn't seem to rotate that much, but again, his hand has been tied a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So there we go. Big up to Michael Dimmock, who's joined us as well. Here we go. Here we go. Thank you for pulling this stat that I talked about earlier. Man U finished 8th last year on -1. Now look at United this season. The problems were staring at Manchester United last season. Goal difference. And guess what? They even changed their manager and the problems are there. That is a brilliant stat. Thank you, Mike. That's the point I was trying to make. Be warned that our goal difference is trying to show us a sign for the future or the now. Be warned that our goal difference is genuinely showing us that. And I'll come back to it because in case you're just joining in and going, what the hell? How can you be so negative? I am loving the fact that Aston Villa are in 8th position in the Premier League. I wish we were higher. I am loving the fact that we have the squad and the manager that we do. And I'm loving the fact that personally, my standards now as an Aston Villa fan are not about surviving each season, which it used to be. My standards always used to be, as long as we don't get relegated, it'll be a good year for us. If we can finish top half, that would be an amazing year. My standards are now top 4 or nothing. And I want your standards to be the same, Villa fans. I want your standards to be there, like Unai's are, like the players should be. Top 4 or nothing. 6th is not a good finish in the end for us. It's regression. But let's put context on it. Injuries. But the league's got harder. But PSR. No buts. No buts. Just finish top 4 now. Because that's what our owners are telling us we need to be doing. That's the plan that Unai has. We cannot put buts in the way of excuses. Newcastle fans had to suck it sour last year and go, yeah, injuries hurt us. But I heard real Newcastle fans go, but we didn't sign enough players. It's got to be real. We've got to be critical. Being in the Champions League drained us. If we beat Celtic, I'm confident we'll finish in the top 8. That's true. We'll look at the fixtures going ahead. But yeah, at least we aren't Spurs. This is the thing, though. And I see a few people say this, at least we aren't Spurs. Okay, chat, let me ask you this. When was the last time Spurs won a trophy? When was the last time people took Spurs seriously? When was the last time that Spurs fans took themselves seriously? You don't want to be compared to Spurs. You don't want Spurs to be anywhere near the sort of comparison. I don't want to be compared to Spurs, a trophyless club, a club who bottle it, a club who are in the Cartel 6 because they built a Hossing Stadium. No, I'm not Spurs. I'm not Spurs. Mate, why don't people go, at least we're not Man United? Why? Because Man United win trophies. Man United still in their baddest patches win trophies. Ten Hag still won them a trophy last season. Interesting, isn't it? People say, at least we're not Spurs. Why don't we say, at least we're not Man United? Because people know that that club still wins silverware, that that club is still a giant, and that club can still bounce back. That is where you've got to be thinking. Don't be compared to a trophyless team like Spurs. And Gary's saying, enjoy Champions League, but Europa's a better chance of winning. But then let's just not aim for, let's never aim to win. Let's never aim to finish top 4. I want to win the best. I want to be the best. That's all I want. That's all I want. But yeah, don't like having a captain keeper, need a leader in the middle, 100%. I've never liked captain keepers. But there we go. That's true, Banana Bear needs to sell them. But yeah, talk on the Champions League. Right. Give me the Europa League and the Kia. Fair. It's a silverware. It's a piece of silverware, and I get that. In a way, as well, you know, I would never snatch a hand off at winning the Conference League. I'll never snatch a hand off at winning the Carabao Cup. I'll never snatch a hand off at winning the Europa League. But what I'm telling you is this. Do you want to get the best players in? Do you want to get the best players in? Do you want to attract the best? Do we want to always have the best managers coming to us? Do we want to have our owners always keeping putting their hands in their pockets and not pulling the plug on us? Then we've got to finish higher. Did the owners come here hoping that Villa will one day win a Europa League? No. They want an FA Cup, they want a Premier League, they want a Champions League, or they want consistent. But yeah, it's madness. It's madness. And I get it. Everyone's got opinions. But yeah, the league has suffered. And Michael says that we're entitled to nothing, Josh. Any European football, considering the quality of the league and where we've been in rare years, is an achievement. Michael, I agree. It's an achievement to finish in Europe because the Premier League is a tough league. But once again, why drop our standards? Why drop our standards of where we are? We've had a taste of Champions League. I can't fathom anything less. I can't fathom anything less. Okay? We can't fathom anything less. I mean it. I mean it. Okay? So there we go. There we go. Callum said, agreed. Definitely something Newcastle needs to promote. We qualify for Europe again this season. 100%. Never heard you speak this negatively because I think it's hit me tonight how real it is. The Big C. I think it's hit me really real. You gotta. I'm not a reactionary fan. I'm not trying to be a reactionary content creator. I'm trying not to be a reactionary fan. You have to step away from what's happening. We're on -1 goal difference. Biggest alarm bell for me. We've only won one game since playing a Champions League fixture after. That's worrying. Considering that we want to stay in the Champions League. The next one for me is we don't score enough goals of where we were last season. And finally, after going back through those last games, find me a period of time where Villa have played 2 or more games consistently at a good level. And I get we're fighting on 3 fronts, but isn't that what we signed up to do? Isn't that what we want to do as a football club? Be the best, compete on the best. You don't hear other teams moan about all the competitions. Dare I even say it? And people want to say, at least we're not Spurs. Hey, you don't hear Spurs saying, but we've still got the Carabao Cup, we've got the FA Cup, we've got the Europa League, and trying to survive Premier League relegation. You don't hear that excuse. All you hear from them is about the injuries. That's where I'm at, chat. That's where I'm at. And yeah, I think it is a real prime example of I'm not a negative fan. I'm always trying to find the best in our team and our players. I don't think it's negative, but I just think there has to be some real realism today. That unless these performances start changing, unless we stop giving the ball so carelessly, unless we find that pattern of play again, we're going to have more weird results. We're going to have more weird results. But there, I don't know. And I think, yeah, again, perspective, everyone has players missing. West Ham didn't have Jared Bowen or a recognised striker. That's true. And it was a horrible game. And you have to plan with injuries. Yeah, I do that. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I think we have to be realistic. What do people see as the realistic? What do people genuinely see the realistic expectation of Aston Villa Football Club now? Because last season we felt that some will say we overachieved, but I'm telling you now, Unai Emery predicted Villa to finish in the top 4 last season. Why? Because that was the realistic target he set out. Unai Emery, 100%, 100% said we have to finish top 4 again this season. The owners have said, have you not seen the finances? The owners are depending on us finishing in the top 4 this season due to the spending that they're having. You're telling me that those owners aren't ambitionless. And I think that's what we're saying. Our fans are ambitionless. It's sickening. That's the thing. We have been in the ruts of the Championship. I've got the Luke Roper kit on from where we were in the Championship. We got out of it. We survived relegation. And we had our blip. But we are Aston Villa. We are a massive club. We have to have ambition to not just now be a team who's trying to break into the top 4 or top 6, trying to compete. No, we have to compete. And that's why I've got this feeling that Unai's going to take the FA Cup really seriously. Unai's got to take the FA Cup seriously. Let the fans know. Unai needs a trophy in the next couple of seasons. If Unai Emery goes 2 more seasons without a trophy, what are we doing? We need trophies now. And that's the man we've signed to get something over the line for us. This is an interesting point. Why don't we play the offside trap? It was so much fun last season. It was entertaining to watch. All too slow now. 100% we've changed defensively our structure because we do not trust the defensive line. We are getting caught out way too easily. And that has been a massive change in the way we build attacks. Hence why I've said, what is Aston Villa Football Club's philosophy and style of play? Are we a counter-attacking team, or are we a team that builds possession? Are we a team that is trying to play out? Well, when you play that high line, you're a pressing team who tries to turn teams over quicker. We've stopped doing that. Why has Unai abandoned that ship? Now, is he looking at Ange Postecoglou and seeing what Ange Postecoglou is saying and going, hey, that high line's killing the Premier League this year, and has found himself in a relegation battle because he's playing Highline FC. I will credit Unai Emery. He has changed his stance. And he has basically said, do you know what? Damn. He's changed his stance and said, do you know what? We're not doing that. Yes. Okay. What else have we got? In the chat? I do need to put our fixtures up. As well. Yeah. Let's see what people are saying. Being realistic is not ambitious. As football is a business, money talks. If a small loan firm has a brilliant lawyer, she will leave for a bigger company and better money. We've got the money there. Let's not beat around the bush. Our wage bill is one of the highest. It's getting up there as one of the highest. Trust me. Villa are splashing the money, but just not getting the right people in. AVFC 85. West Ham have had a reckonable striker with if Lucas Paqueta could finish, we've lost. We need to get off Emery and bring in a new manager. I'm tired of giving this man a chance. Interesting, Azion. I'm not Emery out. Nowhere near Emery out. I don't think anyone else is. Let me know if you are Emery out. I'm not Emery out at all. But what I'm saying is that all over, things need to change. The players' mentality. I think the tactics have gone stale. I think we're a bit predictable, and we've lost that killer instinct. So there we go. Top 6 should be our ambition, in my opinion. I think that would have been a good stepping stone last season. The issue is we went into top 4 last season, and we've set the precedent for there on forwards. Guys, make sure you're smashing up the like on the video. Much love to all of you. Big up to everyone on the late night show. Really, really do appreciate it and loving all your impact. Really do appreciate it. But yeah, I think we've gone past these stages of just being a team that survives, a team that is just rebuilding. We're past that stage now. We're past that phase, whatever you want to call it. We're way past that. Guys, make sure you smash on that like button for me. If you haven't done so already. But yeah, we should be going for Champions League football, 100%. There we go. Krim is Sam. Hi, Josh. Very frustrating, but I still believe you can finish top 6. Top 4 is just too much this season, in my opinion. Yeah, listen. That's why the title, say goodbye to top 4, but top 4 should be our aim. And Can Emerson, I hate to say it, but we need trophies. What's the point if we're not? What is the point if we're not going to compete for trophies? What is the point if we're not going to bring in a great elite manager like Unai Emery and not try and win something? Even Spurs, at their dustiest stage for a long time, are in a Carabao Cup semi-final, and also they are in a Europa League, which they could go on and get something out of. Even dusty Spurs, who look terrible in the Premier League, as people like to say, at least we're not Spurs, look more convincing winning the trophy than us. Damn, that hurts to say that. So there we go. What do we do about our squad depth, though? And this is what I'm saying. We've been lucky with results. That's what I've been saying. Eye test now, people. Eye test. What you see on the pitch is real. Stats and results can mask that. What you see is what you can feel. So let's have a look at our next couple of fixtures coming up. Because, people, I'm a little bit worried. on paper, I thought, hey, we got this. Now I'm a bit like, damn. Let's look at our next 6, people. Let's lock in and look at our next 6. Let's get this on the stage right now. Here's our next 6. Celtic, Wednesday. Real talk. If we are not slapping up the worst team in Scotland in Celtic and Rangers, and when I say worst team, this Celtic team is nowhere near the levels of a Celtic team from a couple of years ago, by the way. This Celtic team is dusty. Yeah? Then what are we doing? That worries me. We've got to be beating Celtic in the Champions League 100%. Wolves away, Tottenham at home, Ipswich at home. Let's start on those 4 games. The FA Cup fourth round. Dare I say it? We have a week's gap, more than a week's gap between Wolves and Tottenham. If Unai Emery is not putting out a full-strength team at Wolves, at Tottenham, and then Ipswich, then we've got issues. We do not need to rotate. The only time I'm calling for rotation is the Celtic game in a way, because we should still be beating them. But dare I say it, we should not be rotating against Tottenham. No way, Jose. If Emi Martinez is not starting in goal against Tottenham, my head will go. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Damn, damn, damn. Oh, dear. Deep breath, lad. Bit of tight news. You'll bounce back. Don't worry, big man. It's the pressure. It's the pressure. It's hard. I'm passionate. Passionate. I'm passionate. Top 6 is fine. Unai is not a miracle worker and able to do both. He's never achieved it anywhere else. And I don't know. I don't know. Real talk then, people. Real talk. Where and what do you expect from those 4 fixtures? Celtic? Do we expect to beat Celtic in the Champions League? What are we saying about the FA Cup? Are we confident we knock out Spurs in the FA Cup? And Wolves and Ipswich in the Premier League, we have to take 6 points. I am not accepting anything else. I don't want 4 points. I want 6 points. Wolves and Ipswich, relegation fodder. Relegation fodder. Have to take 6 points off them. But do you think we will? Do you think we take 6 points off them? Let me know. Seen your reaction to them near win it. If you support Hearts, we jump to Fanes by now. Oh, mate. I can't. Did Killy beat Hearts the other day or not? Big up, Dancy. You're always welcome here, Dancy. What is the phrase dusty? It's just them. It's just a weird phrase. But yeah, it's about standards. And here we go. Fine margins. What's crazy there? If a couple of those close results have gone our way, 2 points against Bournemouth and 3 against Forest, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And it is fine lines. Well, it is fine lines. It is fine margins in football. But you know as well as I do, AVSC85. You know as well as I do that our performances in possession have been dreadful. And you know that we have been lucky in some other games to get wins. We've been lucky in other games to get wins. This Celtic side is quality. Don't put them to bed. They're getting rid of Kogo. We're getting Jota back. Fair play. I didn't know that, Bodlin. I knew that because I thought they were losing a few players because I saw Kogo was leaving. But there we go. Celtic beating us. No Hearts beat Kitty 3-2. On the Jambos. Emirates just not seen the hand handful. Don't want to. Yeah, we've got a terrible record on them. We've got a terrible, terrible record against Tottenham. Why? Why is that? Why do we not like beating Tottenham? And then after that, we've got Chelsea, Palace, Brentford, Liverpool. I'm telling you now, chat. The 4 games that are for me are Wolves, Ipswich, Chelsea, Palace. 4 games, 12 points available. We need a minimum of 10. We need a minimum of 10 to be in the hunt for top 5, top 6. Right now, I think Bournemouth are looking more consistent than us. I think the teams above us in the league, which I'll get at right now, I think the teams above us in the league, genuinely, hand on heart right now, look better than us. Look better than us. 8th position. Bournemouth, Chelsea are the only one, I'd say. City are finding form. Newcastle are finding form. Bournemouth look excellent. And all I can say is as well, We don't beat Wolves and Brighton when we're in trouble. We need Forest to have a little bit of a slump. We need Forest to fall off a cliff. We need Forest to basically struggle. And hopefully Forest do. Spurs, I reckon you're more likely to beat them than Celtic. It's the thing. We're such a weird football team, Bodlin. It is weird. But there we go. There we go. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly think the teams above us, apart from Chelsea, and hopefully Forest go on a slump, are playing better than us. So right now, as it stands, we'd be on eighth position. Eighth position. Are we happy? Genuinely now, Villa fans, right now, if the season was to end and we finished eighth, real talk, how would you feel? How would you feel? How would you feel? How would you feel? If the season ended and we finished eighth, how would you feel? Yes, says Philly. Yeah, same. Brendan Rodgers' managed teams have a pretty good record against us. Getting worried now. If Celtic do us, there's going to be bad vibes here. With Champions League money, you can build on that from next year. Exactly why we need it, mate. Exactly why we need it, Bods. We need to go as deep into the Champions League as we can now. Bournemouth will definitely fall back. I don't know, Gary. Do the eye test. Do the eye test. Do the eye test on Bournemouth, and you'll see. The eye test on Bournemouth, you'll see that that team is cooking. They beat Newcastle and they slapped up Forest. Just remember, Bournemouth have slapped up Newcastle on their own turf and they just slapped up Forest 5. Bournemouth are cooking. Bournemouth are cooking. Forest will fall off. Villa could get 7th. Depends how we did in the Champions League and 8th got Europe. Cop out answer, sorry, says Mike. I get that. I get that. No, if Villa win a trophy and we finish 8th, I'll take it all day long. If Villa get to an FA Cup final and we finish 8th, I'll still probably take it all day long. If Villa get knocked out of the 4th round of the FA Cup, if Villa whimper out of the Champions League next stage in a playoff, if we don't make it, and if Villa finish 8th, I'll be pissed. I'll be pissed. I'll be fuming. If Villa finish 8th and we do not show any progress in the cup competitions that we're in and we get knocked out in a whimpering manner, I will be pissed. And then you've got to ask the question, how do we attract players for next season? When we finish 8th, João Felix laughed at coming to Villa. Now, everyone can take the piss out of João and say, yeah, but he's a bit of this and João Felix that, and look at him sat on the bench. And he looked at Villa and went, who? And Unai's there trying to tell him, sell him the dream. He's like, Villa who? Loic Bade from Sevilla. Sevilla like 11th. Sevilla are terrible. Sevilla are terrible. Peter With, absolutely. Absolute Dancy. What a winner. Yeah, Bournemouth are great. Howe has never beaten them in the league since leaving. Poor Eddie. Felix is own worst enemy, one bad club after another. Exactly that. But listen, we can't attract. We can't attract. We can't attract if we're finishing 8th. Loic Bade's rejected us. João Felix has rejected us. We're going to Juan Foyth, 4th, 5th choice in there. Can we pull Asensio? Can we pull someone else? And that's what I'm saying. We are on this really good. If you look at, if you were to draw a chart of Aston Villa over the last 5 years, what is the trajectory? Up, 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 up. This season, it could be a down one. The only way to stop the trajectory of not being down is to win a trophy and have to finish top 4, get Champions League football. So just let that one sink in again. If we're talking facts and stats, not even eye tests, facts and stats. If Aston Villa don't win a trophy or finish in the Champions League for the first time in our graph over the last 5 years, we're taking a down spike. Now, some will say, but Josh, it's really hard to keep it always an upward spiral. True. True. Man City are finding that. ABFC said we leveled out. I might give you that, to be fair. Maybe you could say the graph goes from there and it levels. But guess what? If we have another bad season, then the drop happens. So we have to be real. The graph is going to be interesting, what we draw. And a trophy saves Unai Emery. I'm telling you now. It'll be the same for Eddie Howe at Newcastle. For all this qualification of Champions League and for all this and that, until Eddie Howe brings those Geordies a trophy, they're always gonna, when there's a bad patch, turn on Eddie Howe. Mikel Arteta has saved his ass by winning an FA Cup. It's the only reason he's still Arsenal manager, because he won a trophy early on in his career. Arne Slot's about to do the most incredible thing for his career by winning a Premier League title. Erik ten Hag kept his ass longer than it should have because he won a trophy but still wasn't good enough at Tottenham. Mauricio Pochettino, Graham Potter, and Enzo Maresca about to feel the wrath of not winning trophies. Ange Postecoglou, Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho all found what it meant to not win trophies. Your job is not safe if you don't win trophies. And that's where I pray for Unai. Find us a way to win some silverware soon to save your own ass and give yourself more time for the prolonged future. It is annoying that Forest have been good. It is annoying that Bournemouth have come trumps. But you've also got to see that Man U and Spurs have dropped off. Imagine if Man U and Spurs were good this year. We'd be top 10. So come on. Villa, find a way now. Find a way to be consistently good. We're going to wrap up here. Find the performances. Give me, even if against Wolves and Ipswich, it's a 1-0 win. But you give me high-quality football for 90 minutes where we're in control. We're absolutely dominating. And the only reason it's 1-0 is because their keepers had an absolute worldie. But we've missed chances. Give me 2 90-minute performances in the league that are absolutely worthy of me going, hey, we're turning a corner. Go win the FA Cup clash against Spurs. No excuses. Go beat Spurs in the FA Cup, put the best team out there. And even in that one now, I'm saying the performance doesn't need to be great. Just get me over the line in the FA Cup. But give me 2 great performances in the league, Wolves and Ipswich, so that we're ready to face Chelsea in a fine bit of form. And through in the FA Cup. And looking good in the Champions League. Don't let me face Chelsea, where we're still scratching our heads going, why are we so bad? Why can we not build? Why can't we be consistent? It's crazy. We're going to wrap up here, though. Big up to everyone who's been in the chat today. Big up to Gary, to Joseph, to Philly, to Michael Heaney, to Mike Dimmitt, to Mike Warmbold, to AVFC85, to Joseph, to Dan C, to Vamos the VJ, to Callum, to Ilomatics, and to anyone else who's just been listening, Bodlin, Captain. It's been a good chat. It's been a good chat. And do you know what? We owe Ipswich as well, Joseph. We do. Keep that notification bell locked on. There's going to be a lot more content in the next few days building up to the end of the transfer window. Lock it up, lock it in. And I absolutely want to make sure that we get it right going forward as a football club. It isn't being, I'm not overacting, I don't think, right now. I don't think that I'm being fickle. I think I'm calling what I see. I really do. I really do. So, Josh Ian Pearson gets my last name right. Love that. Love that. But hey, big up. Notification, get it on. More content coming tomorrow. Smash the like button if you're on the way out. We've only got 25 likes. Let's have 30 likes by the time this stream ends. I'm out of here. Ta-da. Ready to